Well, my job as a candidate for governor is to get the message out to all Californians. I'm relatively new to politics, so I need to tell people that I stand for creating more jobs in California, for getting government spending under control, and fixing our K through 12 education system. And and I think, what, Californians are really smart. They will sort out who's best on the issues and who is best to lead this state out of what is the worst economic crisis in many, many years. And I'll make one last observation, that Jerry Brown is supported heavily by the public employee unions. The unions will spend tens of millions of dollars to support his candidacy. And the good news for the people of California is I don't owe anyone anything except for the voters. And that's a difference between me and a career politician like Jerry Brown, who is bought and paid for by the public employee unions.
So how do you plan to get more jobs and still improve schools, but at the same time cut spending?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you do, we've got to get Californians back to work. The only sustainable way to increase tax revenues in California is a more robust economy with more companies hiring and more people working. So we're going to make California a far more business-friendly state than we are today. You probably know we're losing jobs to Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Texas, Nevada, because it's cheaper and easier to do business. We're going to change that. Then we've got to make the government more efficient and effective. I've identified $15 billion worth of spending that, frankly, I think will make the state stronger, not weaker. And then we've got to get education turned around. And the biggest key there is to get more money into the classroom. Of the $70 billion that we spend, only 60% goes to the classroom where the children and teachers are. The rest goes to overhead and administration. So by getting more money into the classroom, I think we can do a better job educating the children.
So why is it only 60% makes it?
Because we have created a bureaucracy in California that is not to be believed. There's two huge bureaucratic structures in Sacramento: the superintendent of education and his whole bureaucracy, the Department of Education, and then at every school district there's a bureaucracy. You probably know school teachers who have been laid off, who've received a pink slip. Have you seen any bureaucrats who've received a pink slip in the education bureaucracy? The answer to that is no. So we've got to get more money into the classroom.
So you've run businesses very successfully.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, a government is very different than a business. So where do you see your biggest challenge being in between those two?
Well, the government is not a business. It should never be a business. But we need to apply a few more business principles because we are spending taxpayer money inefficiently and ineffectively. And the number one issue, of course, is jobs. I'm the only candidate in this race who has met a payroll, who's created jobs, who has been on the receiving end of regulation that strangles all business in California. And if we can have a more business-friendly environment, we'll put more people back to work, we will have higher tax revenues, and we'll be able to invest in the things that really matter to Californians. Right now, because we are in a $20 billion budget deficit situation, we can't invest in the things that make the most difference.
What would one of those things be?
Well, first is we've got to invest in infrastructure. I want to invest in lower taxes. I want to invest in streamlining regulation, and I want to invest in our higher education system. You know, the UC system, the CSU system, still the very best in the country, but we are cutting those budgets in ways that I don't think is healthy. We're raising fees for students 32%. This does not make sense. I want to take part of that cost savings that I've identified and put $1 billion back into our higher education system. You know, right here in San Diego, the UC San Diego and biotech infrastructure and ecosystem is worth untold amount of money. Every state in the country would like to emulate UC San Diego and biotech. We can't afford to lose that kind of ecosystem here, and we will if we don't support the research.
So is there anything you want to add that you think people aren't, that you haven't been able to get out as part of your message?
One of the things we were going to talk about this morning was the whole issue with Jerry Brown and using the AG's plan during the fiscal crisis. Maybe that's
using the AG's. Well, I mean, then we'd have to bring up, the same thing. You get Schwarzenegger using the AG's, but using his plane to commute every day.
No, but it's different because, yeah, let me just, you can decide whether you want to use it or not. But yeah, I mean, what came to light last week was that Jerry Brown is using a taxpayer-supported plane to fly around California. He went to a conference at the Ritz-Carlton in Lake Tahoe in a taxpayer-funded plane. And the difference, of course, between Governor Schwarzenegger, who uses his own private plane, he pays for that, or a not-for-profit organization that supports him pays for that plane. Jerry Brown's plane is being paid for by the taxpayers. And the hypocrisy of that is really remarkable, because several weeks ago he was saying the governor should eliminate all luxuries. No planes, no mansion. Of course, we don't have any of those, but he has not sold the AG plane. In my view, he should really think hard about that. The fact he's flying around in a taxpayer-supported plane is the hypocrisy that drives Californians crazy and why they don't like career politicians.
So are you gonna pay for your own plane and not live in the governor's mansion?
Well, there is no governor's mansion, so I will move to Sacramento. I'll buy a house and be part of that community. And if I fly privately, I will pay for it. Otherwise, I'll be on Southwest Airlines.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks very much.